Good afternoon. I'm Carrie Paleo. I'm your host of the Leveling Up podcast. This is my first time live in the Disruption Network studios. So we are getting used to the technology and the setup and all of the lights. So a little bit bright here, a little bit to get used to. But thanks for tuning in today. I want to cover a little bit about what's going on in Utica, what's going on at the Chamber, and then introduce my guest for today, who is Kyle Strife. So lots going on in Utica. I had my first chance this week to actually go to a live in-person business event for the first time in a long time. I was out at Vernon Downs for their media night. They're going to be opening up racing this week, and they have a lot of promotions scheduled, a lot of fireworks. They have some big things planned, so you want to check out Vernon Downs for if you're looking for something great to do. Also happening this week in Utica, the Munson Williams Proctor Art Institute is having a flower show this weekend, and they're doing it both in person and virtually. So if you're not ready for in-person events yet, they're doing some things virtually. So they're offering all sorts of things. If you're ready for spring, there's going to be a lot of flower designers in, a lot of local greeneries participating in that show. So if you're feeling spring, even though it's cold out there today, that's something for you to do this weekend to get out and about, either in person or virtually. So I want to tell you a little bit about some things that we have coming up for chamber events as well. We're really excited to be hosting our Leads and Lattes event. This is going to be another virtual event where you can connect with people and network from the comfort of your home office. And that is sponsored by First Source Federal Credit Union, and our host for that is Utica Coffee Roasting Company. That's coming up on April 29th at 8:45 a.m. And we still have a few spots, so if you want to register, make sure you get in early. It's nice that we're doing it digital because we give you the opportunity to share your screen. So you have something going on in your business and you want to share it via PowerPoint. It's a great way to do that with still networking with people. So Utica Coffee Roasting is going to be giving you coffee and pastry, and you can pick that up either in their Utica or their Clinton locations. And we give you time to get to your office and get on your computer and Zoom for that networking opportunity. We also ask that you mark your calendars for our annual meeting. We weren't able to do this last year in person, so we're excited that this year at Aquavino on May 20th, we will be gathering together to tell you about what we've been doing over the last year, highlighting 2020, telling you about what's going to be happening in 2021, things that we're excited about. And we're all going to be able to get together from some networking together as well. So that's May 20th, and we're going to be having the annual meeting at Aquavino. Again, we will have a virtual component for those of you who are not comfortable being in person yet. We will pre-record that and premiere it live on YouTube, so you'll be able to join in for the presentation part of that meeting and be able to participate. So we're excited to be able to plan that event in person and get to see people again. So I know that people are excited to get out there. A lot of people are being vaccinated now, so a lot of people are a little bit more comfortable getting out and about. And of course, you know, we did have a little bit of nice weather, but we've gone back to this rainy day. So with spring, people are ready to be out and about. So before I keep rambling on, I'd like to take a chance to introduce my guest today is Kyle Strife. He has been a friend of mine for quite a while. We met when we were both on the Catalyst Steering Committee. I think I have a little bit of throwback photo from years ago when we did a little Catalyst event, and you can see Jen.
Don't mention how long ago that was, yeah.
I won't say, I'll keep that under wraps. But you can see Jen Osiecki is our board chair, and she's in that photo as well. So a little bit about Kyle. I'll read his official biography. He is a lifelong resident of Central New York, and he holds a bachelor's degree from business from Syracuse University at Utica College. He also holds a Life Underwriter Training Council Fellow designation from the American College of Financial Services. These titles, could they be any longer? They're a mouthful.
They are longer, to be honest. There are longer titles. Yeah, it's alphabet soup is what we call it. Lots of letters after your name in my industry. So.
Yeah, he also holds a certification in long-term care planning from the Corporation for Long-Term Care Certification, and is only one more course away from earning his CHFC, there's the alphabet soup, designation, which is the Chartered Financial Consultant from the American College. Kyle is also one of our board members. He is also a board member for the Center for Leadership Excellence, the CNY Vision Foundation, and he serves on many committees and councils for each of these organizations. In his free time, Kyle enjoys traveling with the world with his wife, Brittany, skiing, golfing, running, and going to the Utica Comets hockey games, which is another thing that's great and up and happening in Utica is that, if you're a season ticket holder, you can actually get into Utica Comets games. They're also showing them live on TV, which is really nice. I actually enjoyed the game the other day. We beat the Crunch, so that was kind of fun to watch on TV. Have you actually been down there yet as a season ticket holder?
I bought tickets for the Friday the 30th game, so that'll be my first one, and they have an interesting arrangement. You go on the seating chart, and they have pods, whether it's 2 seats, 4 seats, and you have to buy the whole pod. So I went in there saying, oh, here's 4 seats available. I'll take 2 or 3 of them. Wouldn't let me. You got to buy the whole pod. So that was new. But yeah, I'll be at the Friday the 30th game.
Good. I also kind of throw back to, I mentioned I went to media night at Vernon Downs, and that was in person, and they did such a good job of making sure that everything was safe. Normally you go to an event like that and they have past hors d'oeuvres, they had them all plated and handed out individually, so that was really nice that, if you go to these in-person things, that all of our businesses and organizations are really keeping safety first and foremost, so that's great.
The big question with Vernon Downs, are they bringing back the camel races?
They did not mention that. So it's something we'll have to keep an eye out, but they didn't mention that as part of media night.
I grew up in Vernon, so I've been to a few of those. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. They do a good job at Vernon Downs.
Great. So today is April 15th. Typically, it's tax day. Today, it is not because we have an extension.
The IRS has given us an extension to May 17th, and that creates some interesting opportunities and a little more breathing room for some people who were a little more negatively affected last year. I know it's been an interesting year, and that always creates a little havoc for the accountants in the area. I'm not licensed to give tax or legal advice, but again, there's a lot of overlap in those industries. People need statements from me to get their taxes done, and vice versa. I need statements from the accountants to know what the clients can do. But yeah, it's another extension. It's another interesting opportunity.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how you got into this industry, what excites you about financial planning, what you're passionate about.
I kind of stumbled into this one by accident. So I graduated from Utica College, and then I ran into a relative the next summer, and he has been a financial advisor for 20 plus years at the time, Thomas Nelson. Prior to that, he was actually the comptroller of the city of Utica. So he was in elected politics for a number of years, but also on the financial side. And I ran into him that summer, and then again, he's a relative. He said, what are you doing these days? I'm on the board at Utica College. I graduated from there. So we get talking, and he said, come hang out in my office for a day. I'll show you what I do. And 12 and a half years later, that's kind of how I got into it. So the first year or two were very challenging. It is a lot to take in. The scope of services in my profession, it's a lot. It goes a lot more than you would think beyond, hey, analyze a statement or a fund or a plan. You need to be very current on a lot of different rules and regulations and a lot of advanced concepts to be able to do this job correctly and effectively.
Yeah, so like concepts.
That's why there's all the designations and courses that we take. We pride ourselves on the training and the education aspect of it because it's a lot. To be effective, you need to be pretty well versed in a lot of areas.
Yeah, and like there's things that are constantly coming up and changing, like cryptocurrency is hot right now. Back at the beginning of the year, there was like that whole little GameStop blip. So do your friends ever ask you about these kind of little things?
I had to explain to a handful of clients and friends and family the whole GameStop issue. If you want a really quick breakdown, it's kind of silly, but technically here's what it does. Someone goes to an investment house, a brokerage firm, and they say, okay, here's me, here's my credit worthiness. Let me borrow shares of stock. I don't want to buy them, I want to borrow them. And it's called shorting. You don't own the stock, you don't hold it, you're borrowing it. You can then sell that stock and raise cash, but it comes with terms. They are charging you interest while you're borrowing these shares of stock. The goal is that you can buy the shares back later at a lower price and return them to the broker. And that is called shorting. And not to get too technical, but individuals can do it. It's a much more high-level technique. It's not for everybody. There's a niche fit where that works, but more so are the large hedge funds and investment firms. They can do it at grand scale, so the margins are much better. But for an example, let's take the GameStop. It was trading somewhere around $18, $19 a share. And certain firms said, we think that's overvalued based on the fundamentals. So we want to borrow these shares, sell them and raise the cash, and then pretty soon when it drops down to what we think is realistic, $14, $15 a share, we can buy them back and we'll make a profit there. Well, that's not what happened. A community of people in Reddit forums and online, they saw that some of these big hedge funds and investment firms were doing this. And they had a soft spot for GameStop. They said, you know, we've been going to GameStop for years. We want to stick it to these big firms, so let's all band together and buy shares of GameStop. Well, that does the opposite of what the hedge funds want. It drives up the cost. Now you've got the brokerage firms looking for shares, but the cost is going up. These hedge funds and all these other buyers, they need to buy them back and return them to the firms because that is the agreement they signed up for, but they're doing it now at a higher price. So they were losing their shirts for a period of 2 weeks, and it really is going to be interesting. There's probably going to be some investigations by the regulatory firms because certain firms were putting blocks. They said no one can buy the following stocks, and that's interfering with free trade. So it's going to be very interesting how that plays out. And the cryptocurrencies are another interesting one. That's been going on for a couple of years.
That's something I don't understand at all. Like, I know like you should be investing in cryptocurrency. You should have some. See, maybe this is why you have a financial advisor, but you look at the numbers and you feel like, man, I missed out. I should have done that.
And what you need to realize is cryptocurrencies, even though it says cryptocurrency, it is not exactly a currency. Certain places are allowing you to pay with them, but the more traditional definition of what currency is, it's something that is backed up by value, by the claims paying ability or the taxing ability of a government. The price is somewhat stable. It's good for all transactions, public or private, debts, public or private. And it says that right on, you know, a dollar bill. So traditionally, to be a good currency, the value needs to have some kind of stability. And the problem with cryptocurrencies, there's almost 2,000 of them now. Almost anyone with the time and the tech-savvy ability could make a cryptocurrency. So it's not like it's limited, and there's new ones popping up all the time. And then in addition, the big problem there is the value. You have to have some kind of stability and value, otherwise the price is something today, but it's way off a couple weeks from now. In the last 1 year alone, Bitcoin specifically went from hovering around, I think it was $900, $1,000 for one Bitcoin, and right now it's at like 60,000 for one Bitcoin in US dollars. That's over an 800% increase in 1 year. Currency should not do that.
Right.
Plus, again, it's not readily accepted at a lot of places. So it's a weird...
Where do you trade in that kind of cryptocurrency?
You have to go to some of these coin desks, and there's only a couple of them, and that really ups the risk. There's a limited supply of certain coins, and every time one changes hands, there needs to be a digital copy added to what's called a blockchain. Well, every single transaction adds to the length of that. That drives up the computing power to manage these, and it's going to be a problem. Again, it's interesting. I wouldn't exactly label it as a currency yet. We'll see what the future holds. Do I recommend people dabble with the GameStops and short sales or the cryptocurrencies? Not really, no. They are very niche. It really needs to be researched with open eyes because it gets very complicated and the risk is very high. You could lose your shirt very quickly with these, just like any other investment. Investments come with risk. All investments do. It's just to what degree. And those are at the top end of the spectrum. They are very volatile, a lot of risk. So is it a fit for your average consumer, your average investor? The answer is no. And if you want to do it yourself, there's only a handful of resources for these cryptocurrencies. And then you're really relying on that trading desk, that coin desk, to not have any technical issues, to stay solvent and liquid, and to be able to cover any of your transactions, whether you're trying to buy or sell. It gets very technical, and I do not give advice on individual stocks or the cryptocurrencies. I can explain anything to anyone, that's not a problem, but I don't dabble in that because the risk is just too great, and it's not a fit for most people.
Yeah. So this is why you have a financial advisor to talk to and bounce all of these kind of things off of. So you kind of talked about how you fell into this field, you had an internship, and so that's what started your knowledge base, and you need a lot of educational knowledge in order to be a financial advisor, and you're constantly learning and growing. But in addition to that field of knowledge and that specificity, you're also running a business.
Yes.
Right. So running a business, you have to do things like find clients and continue to grow your business. How do you do that?
I would say more than half of my day is dealing with paperwork, whether it's physical or electronic, the regulatory side of stuff, keeping my licenses up to date. They need to be renewed periodically. You need to have continuing education credits. More than half of my day is very, very dull. I am not building spreadsheets and analyzing funds all day long. It is not a sexy job. I am mostly staring at a computer screen for half the day, trying to just get the nonsense off my desk. And then the other half is meeting with clients or calling, emailing clients. Yeah, the marketing is the hard part in this job. You can train anybody and they can be pretty competent in almost anything after some time and some experience. But the person-to-person skills, getting out there and finding new clients, servicing those clients over a long period of time as the world changes, as the markets change, as their life changes, that's the hard part in this job. We have software that can do anything. We can analyze anything. We can run reports and project anything. That's not the hard part. Yeah. The hard part is finding the clients and solving their problems.
So the chamber helps you meet that need, correct?
Absolutely. And I will never forget my first chamber meeting.
Okay.
It was a year after I graduated from college, and Tom Nelson, my mentor and my relative, he says, "What are you doing tonight?" It was just a random Wednesday, Thursday night. And I said, no real plans. There's a Chamber of Commerce business after hours meeting. Would you like to come with me? I don't know what that is, Tom. Oh, it's great. It's a networking event. We go to a local business. We're at, the Stanley Theater was where that first one was.
Fun one.
So we're in the front lobby of the Stanley Theater. Here I am, 24 years old, on this job for only a couple months. And we go there, and I will never forget, we walk in, and I'm trying to mingle and walk around, and someone comes up to me, and they try and order a drink from me, and they were like, "Oh, you don't work here?" I'm not joking.
Were you dressed like the waiters, Kyle?
No, I wasn't dressed like the waiters, but I was probably one of two people in the entire room that were under the age of 40.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, and you just got to laugh that stuff off. But I started to get a little more involved. And then more and more younger people started getting involved in the chamber.
Well, we have the Catalyst group now, so we really
Exactly.
have worked hard to change that and teach young professionals how to network properly, how to
Exactly.
open themselves up to these kind of business conversations, make the connections for their business, how to serve as a board member. So
Absolutely.
Catalyst is critical in kind of helping our young professionals in the area, and it's also great because it connects like-minded people. So
Yes, it does.
when we were in Catalyst, I would say it was kind of that turning point when Utica was still a little down on itself, and people were not as excited about all the stuff that was going on. And we were like-minded people who saw the potential in Utica and Utica kind of growing and new things happening. And that kind of creates and sparks positivity because we're around
Absolutely.
people who all feel that same way.
And that's what you need in your life. You are the company you keep. So if you're hanging out with people that are pessimistic and very negative about the area and the future of this city and this area, that's going to rub off on you. So yeah, I was very fortunate that was one of the founding members of the Catalyst Group. So a couple of us got together. Again, we're going back more than a couple months here. And we said, hey, more and more younger people are coming into these groups. And chambers of commerce all over the country, they have young professional arms. Why don't we have one? Let's make one. So about a dozen of us at first, we started having meetings. And for about 2 months, 3 months, we were just trying to get a feel for what we wanted this to look like. And we had the full blessing of the board and the chamber, and they gave us the liaison in Ellis D'Elia, the Godfather, and
He still is.
He still is, and yeah, we spent most of that summer trying to come up with a definition and a description of what we were, what we wanted to be in this community and to the Chamber of Commerce. And not gonna lie, I've met some amazing people and some of my best friends through the Catalyst Group, through the Chamber of Commerce, and another great organization that really helped me to advance and get to that next level, that next step of my career was leadership training. So I was recruited back in the day to go through Leadership Mohawk Valley. It's now part of the Center for Leadership Excellence. And again, just one of the groups and experiences that really opened my eyes to what this community has. Lived here, grew up here, and through the course of these groups, I learned more about this area and the people in it. It totally changed my profession for the better. And it got me in front of business owners and people that were passionate about this area and positive, and saw that we're on the upswing and things are improving every day. And it really helped me change the way I ran my practice, change the way that I looked at this area and my personal time. You don't need to be busy every minute of every day, but what are you doing to improve yourself, whether it's personally or professionally? Those are important.
Yeah.
And that's what successful people do. And I said, wow, I better start doing it. If everyone else is doing it, I follow the crowd here.
Yeah, they say if you want something done, you ask a busy person. That's how you get things
That's
done.
how you get things done.
And you serve on a lot of different groups and committees, and you're on our Choo Choo Golf Committee. That's one
Yes,
of the
indeed.
committees that you serve on for us at the Chamber. What sets the Choo Choo apart from other golf tournaments? We live in an area that has a lot of great golf courses and therefore a lot of golf tournaments. What sets the Choo Choo apart from other tournaments?
The Choo Choo Golf Tournament is unlike any other golf tournament most people have been to. You don't show up at a golf course and then play golf. You show up at the train station first thing in the morning at downtown Utica, and you do your registration, you get your goodie bag, and then you get on the Adirondack Scenic Railroad. And these are our goals again for this year. We will feel out the rules and regulations from the state as things start to develop. But then you get to hang out with a bunch of other people, all chamber members and friends and guests, and you ride the scenic railroad all the way up to Old Forge and play full day golf, 18 holes, with a group of friends and some new people, and you get to ride the train home again, and it makes for a long day, but it is a blast. That is a networking opportunity and a golfing experience unlike any other tournament in the area. Thandera is a gorgeous golf course. It is a pretty train ride. The bar car's open, the seating cars are open, there's food, there's drinks, there's friends. It is a blast. The chamber always does a great job of taking care of us. And yes, I've been on the committee for the golf tournament for the last couple years. And again, it's unlike any other golf tournament around. It's a wonderful time. I recommend everyone do it. And remind me, we have a cutoff. There's early bird registration.
We do. So right now we are in an early bird period that goes through May 14th. We definitely we're probably about a third filled up.
Okay.
So we do have registration going quickly for teams. And like Kyle said, we're keeping in close communication with the railroad to make sure that we can pull that part off. But there are other tournaments that happen up in Old Forge at Thandera, and so we're confident that either way there will be a choo-choo this year.
Fingers crossed.
Angela and I say the choo-choo cannot be derailed.
Yes, that's right.
This is our 20th anniversary, and we're bound and determined to make it happen. I have actually never been to the tournament. That's always my family's reunion that weekend. So
Okay.
even when we were in Catalyst and everybody, the Catalyst group volunteers for that tournament. I've heard great things, but I've never been able to do it personally. So I'm really looking forward to, the train ride and the golf course and the beautiful day and all the networking that's going to take place. And, it's a lot of hard work to pull that off, but, we have a great committee. So if you're interested in...
It's more so on the staff. You guys are a godsend. We couldn't do it without all the work and the blood, sweat, and tears that you guys put into this. So
and
we're all very grateful.
All of our sponsors who sponsor the golf tournament. So if you're interested in golfing or sponsoring the golf tournament, you can reach out. And of course, there's more information on our webpage, greateruticachamber.org, for all of those opportunities and to sign up for that. So, this is called the Leveling Up Podcast. And so I like to ask each of my guests, what is it the one thing that either personally or professionally in your life you've had to do to level up to get you where you are now or where you want to be? Like, what is the one thing that you kind of didn't know until you knew? You kind of think you have this picture of what your business is going to look like or what your personal, professional career is going to look like. And then all of a sudden there's that one thing that kind of sparks you. What is it that's taken you to level up, Kyle?
Tough question. And I don't know if it's one specific thing, but I can tell you one of the most impactful things. Again, the first year or two I was doing this, it's a steep learning curve. There's a lot to take in, and you've got just hours and hours of training, and you need to get all your licenses, start to research everything, and make marketing plans. And the failure rate in this industry is no different than anyone else starting their own business, their own practice. After a couple of years, really only about 10% of people are left by about year 4 or 5. So by year 3, Tom came to me, Tom Nelson, again, my partner and senior advisor at the firm, and he said, are you serious about this? What do you want this to look like for you? So he asked me a similar question, and it was interesting. All through my childhood, all through school, I never had that vision. All of my friends, they were like, I want to be a cop, I want to be a teacher, I want to be this. I just,
Nobody grows up and say, I want to be a financial advisor.
I don't think so, but I didn't really know. I was always very good at math and the sciences. My family owns a restaurant, and I grew up working there, so talking with people, talking in public never bothered me much. So I was always fairly good at those. And again, I just kind of fell into this. But after the 3rd year, Tom said, if you're going to be serious about this, then we need to run this more as a serious business, and it's more like a partnership. I'm not going to work forever. And here he is, 12 and a half years later, he is still working because it's a fun job. And it becomes what you do for your personal life. A lot of clients have become very good friends. A lot of friends have become good clients. And, it's a pleasure and a privilege that we don't take lightly to talk with all of our clients and help them do these problem-solving strategies. Having a clear definition of what your goals are is usually the first step with financial planning. If you don't know where you're going, how do you know how you're going to get there or when you're going to get there? So that's a pretty common first step, is taking stock of where you are. And again, it's more creative problem solving. So we love what we do, and it's not backbreaking work. As long as you're still sharp and you have the energy, you can do this a long time. And that was Tom's plan. And he said, we practice and we preach this to all of our clients, especially our business owner clients. You need to have an exit strategy. You need to have a succession plan. Well, we should do the same. So we need to get a little more serious and put a formal arrangement together. If Kyle hits the following goals, he gets the following treatment. After reaching a certain level or a certain point in your career, you should be a named partner. And then eventually you should be transitioning into taking over more of the day-to-day responsibilities, taking over more of the workload, and that is what we have done. So we practice what we preach. And that was, I probably would say that was the turning point. And 8-9 years ago. So that was the real first step. And again, it was right around the time I was doing leadership Mohawk Valley. Soon after that, we were starting the Catalyst Young Professional Group. So I was really getting out in the community more, getting to know the area, getting to know the more important places and people, and it served me really well. But I'd say that was probably the turning point.
Yeah, well, having those big conversations are really important, to defining your goals and getting to where you want to be, and, especially around money. Money is very hard for some people to talk about.
Yes.
And some people are a little intimidated by it. So you have, something coming up, the Savage Truth about money.
Correct, yeah. One of the vendors that we use is putting out a 1-hour seminar. It's going to be virtual, and they have a nationally recognized speaker, and her name is Terry Savage. She is a columnist, former financial planner, author, well-known speaker. So if anyone's interested in tuning into that, I have a unique code that I would need to send you. You can contact us through our website, and that's nelsonstrife.com. You can find us on social media. Just send us a quick email, say that you're interested in viewing the webinar, and we can get you signed right up.
Yeah, that's great. It's a wonderful thing to be able to take advantage of that opportunity virtually if you're still a little uncomfortable about reaching out to a financial advisor in person. At least you can become a little bit more educated on the topic, and then maybe feel a little bit more confident about reaching out to set up something more official for yourself.
It can be a little intimidating. People think that you either need to have a lot of money to need a financial advisor, or you need to have a very complex situation, or you need to be old. I've heard every excuse in the book. The answer is no. Our advice doesn't cost anything. We're not going to bill you by the hour like a doctor or a lawyer would. We have clients in every age group. I have clients in their early 20s, their mid 30s, 40s. I have clients in their late 80s. I have clients at every point in the life cycle, and some are dealing with college loans, car loans, which credit card should I get? We help them analyze all sorts of stuff. It is not just dealing with investments, dealing with retirement planning. We do have that. That is the majority of our business, but we help our clients with any and every financial issue, even if it's not what we do. We will help them analyze their pension retirements, their Social Security retirements, again, car loans, credit cards. We help them analyze a lot of stuff. And you can only do that if you're looking at the big picture. You can't do things in a silo, in a vacuum. You need to incorporate everything that's going on for someone. It's a holistic approach. And there's a number of good financial advisors in the area. Again, we'll raise our hand. We'd love to get new clients. But if you're talking with someone who is licensed and accredited and has, some good experience, some designations, that should be a good indicator that they're competent. They know what they're doing. And again, you don't have to have a lot of money. You don't have to be old. You don't have to be in trouble. If you don't know what you don't know, again, that alone is a good reason to start talking to someone. even if you're younger, what should I be doing? What
With
are
my
some
tax return,
basics
where should I
that
put
I should be
it? Should I
starting?
spend it on a spending spree, or should I put it somewhere?
Returns, tax
Yeah.
return refunds. What are those? I don't get those. Yeah. No, but that's an interesting point. So it creates, again, like I said, some opportunities. What you have the ability to do, even through the early parts of the year, you can do things like make contributions to certain retirement accounts like IRAs, HSAs, as long as you haven't filed your tax return yet, and sometimes even if you have. So by having the IRS push that deadline out almost another full month here, it's giving people more opportunities to do stuff like this. You can still make IRA contributions for your 2020 tax year, even though we're 3.5 months into 2021. So that's created some interesting opportunities. And again, they loosen those restrictions in response to the COVID situation. It's been an interesting year for a lot of industries and a lot of people. Some weathered it very well and actually came out ahead. Some not so much. So it's good to see that the government's giving us a little more time and a little more wiggle room to help out the majority of Americans.
Yeah. So if you have questions on your financial situation, or if you're interested in that 1-hour telecast that Kyle mentioned, if you have questions about, your financial situation, reach out to Kyle. Or if listening to him has made you think that you need some more opportunity for networking, reach out to us at the Chamber. We have our Leads and Lattes event that I mentioned. We still have spots for that on April 29th. The annual meeting is coming up on May 20th at Aquavino. And of course, we have spots for both golfing and sponsorship at our 20th annual Choo Choo tournament on August 20th. So reach out to us at greateruticachamber.org for any of those opportunities. And as always, I encourage you to get out and explore Utica. There's some wonderful things happening. I mentioned Vernon Downs is opening this weekend for racing. There's the flower show at Munson Williams Proctor Art Institute this weekend. And it's always just great to get out and get some fresh air if you need some social distancing in our beautiful parks. So get out and explore Utica. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Kyle, for being my guest for
Pleasure's
my
all
first
mine. Thank you so much.
in-studio appearance.
Yeah.
So glad to rip off that Band-Aid. Have a great week. Before I wrap up, I want to announce my next guest. I will be back here on Thursday, April 29th at noon with Tom Armitage from Sightseeker. And we're going to be talking a little bit about lessons that businesses here in Utica learned during the pandemic and how they are surviving and thriving from the experience they had in 2020. A little bit about adaptation and how you can continue to grow your business. So thank you so much and have a great day, Utica.